Get this meeting started. Okay.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor? Hey, Pastor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to.
Yeah, I would love to, it's an honor. Okay, shall we all pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful, Lord, for this beautiful day you've given us. And we know, Lord, that you love us and that you love Brooksville. We pray, Lord, that our elected officials and our employees of the township would use knowledge and wisdom and make good decisions to move us into the future. We pray that you would bless our residents and let us supply and give them what we need to have a good community. We ask this in your name, amen.
Amen. Well, welcome everybody. There's got to be some hot topics. We never have any visitors. We have one. But he's like family now. He's always here. So, do we got any major announcements? So you have anything?
No, not right. If I can do it later on, I'll try.
You good? Everyone
No,
good?
no, we're good. I'm good.
Okay.
Correspondence, I've talked to multiple people. In Mike's place, my open office, I guess. So, but nothing worth talking about. We have some meeting guests. We got Mike Smith from Granville Road. And
Are all of you guys together?
there's, Rob. So, I thankfully Sue preempted me and gave me some update on this, and I was able to go try to talk to Mike, but it was all good. So, Mike,
These.
yeah, I saw those. So, Mike, you got 10 minutes, and
Me and my wife Carol Sue moved into 3616 Ranfield Road, September 2007. During our first heavy rain, we had lots of flooding on our side of the front yard, but when the rain stopped, the flooding drained off rapidly. This issue was not disclosed to us at the time of purchase. In 2017, the flooding got much worse and drained much slower. In the last 3 years, we have seen the flooding become overwhelming, not only for our property, but also for the adjacent properties on the same side of Ranfield. So our actions were, number one, we contacted Portage County engineers. Upon his inspection, he stated the issue was not their responsibility. Two, we contacted the Army Corps of Engineers. They told us it was not their department. Three, we contacted Portage Soil and Water. And when Anthony Lurch arrived and inspected, and he looked over our property using I can't say that word.
Elevation.
Elevation map on our property, he discovered that our elevation on the properties where the water drained through the culvert under Ranfield Road into the marsh across the road are now at the same elevation. We contacted Janet Esposito. She gave us an appointment with the Portage County Auditor Board, and we presented this issue to them, and they told us to contact Sue Fields. Our findings, upon studying the elevation map, I can see all the elevations north, east, and south around my property adjacent to our neighbor are higher. All the water drains from these properties flow directly through our properties into the culvert. We can physically see during a heavy rain, water flowing from these surrounding properties like a shallow river, heading down to the culvert where extreme flooding occurs. And when this occurs, we experience overwhelming smell of gray water. Also, we can see extreme erosions. We have lost trees and property. I have put in new retaining walls to reduce the erosion and continue to add soil and gravel to replace what we have lost. When the flooding occurs on Ranfield Road, Route 88 can be underwater for up to 7 days. This depends on evaporation. Also, this year, for the first time while Ranfield was underwater, the temperature dropped and all the water turned into ice for 3 days. Very dangerous for traffic since I live on a curve. When Ranfield is underwater, it's extremely hazardous for traffic. The elevation is the same on our side to the culvert and on the other side of the culvert where the water drains into the marsh. This problem is erosion. The water has no place to go. Or it may be the dam that our neighbor built on further east of the marsh off Old Ford Road. Or it is the watershed that runs through our properties affected with us, with these issues, and where it is on my property and the water does not drain and is stagnant. Maybe all the new development between Ranfield and 18 and Sandy Lake Road has changed the landscape. And this is the issue. I don't know. I'm studying the map from the Portage County Community website. It shows that the stream flows from the north southward behind the neighbors' homes and turns west through the culvert through the marsh. It continues towards Old Forge and southward towards the Missouri. Could this be the issue? I do not know. What we are asking is for someone to assess what really is the problem and to correct it before someone is hurt on Ranfield Road and we lose all our beautiful property and assets forever. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to add to this. He's given me some really nice pictures of his pond in his front yard. So it really truly is an issue. The one thing I'm concerned about is, as a township, we have no jurisdiction over a county road. And I find also that the little creek coming through there also affects Nancy and Gary Rod's property. They also go underwater. And what I'm asking for is that we as a board, since Mike is a resident of Brimfield, I think he has a voice in this to bring it to us, and we're aware of it. And so now I would like to discuss it and possibly end up taking this information we have here, taking it to somebody in the county, but at this point, I don't know who that would be. And let the county see that it really is a problem.
So let me add to that. And we've kind of got a lot of experience with this situation in the last year or so. We have a property on Congress Lake Road that has the same issues of flooding from other properties. We had soil and water out there. We had the EPA out there. Our final answer that we were given by them, because there were spots where people have blocked off certain parts of the creeks or the water, and it doesn't flow past there anymore, is that those residents needed to sue each other in order to get those blockages done. Mike, can you kind of explain that process again that went on over at Congress Lake Road with the soil and water?
Well, they kept passing it back to Brimfield Township, but it was over an acre disturbed, so that would kick in Soil and Water Conservation District as they were the issuing permit agency.
And that's more than an acre.
They kind of ignored the permit issues, even though that's their responsibility. So then they ended up contacting the EPA, which then allowed them to get a permit through them. And then they made sure everything was completed. So
Did you mention out there was blockage somewhere though that you had
Yeah,
someone filled in a
What
part
I've
of?
heard is that on the other side of the marsh, somebody blocked their own. Okay, they dammed it, so it doesn't flow into their property.
So
I'm not, when somebody suggested I go talk to them, I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to them.
Well, that was the problem on Congress Lake, is one of the other neighbors had filled in their part of the ditch. Right. And it all runs does it, and I don't know, you've been down Ranfield Road, does it flood up the street anymore where
Dave met me down there and assessed it, so
but where the old underground house used to be, the dog house, does it flood right there anymore, or is that stopped?
Wow, I don't think we'll really know. Yeah.
It's right across from the little farm, or the horse, fence that's out there.
Yeah.
Does it flood right there
Yeah,
anymore?
it does.
Okay.
What they've done is they've dug it out. The elevation drops, the road goes up and it drops, anything on that side turns towards that part of the watershed, and it drops on our side.
That used to be horrible there
And I don't think it's horrible anymore, and I don't know if people have filled in things that have changed the direction, and now it's hitting you guys more, or.
John, okay, just so everyone knows, I mean, he's my neighbor, which I found out. I own that parcel.
Sure.
There is a, I guess, I think I told Mike, there is an easement that goes back up there that, I don't know, it's natural gas from Ohio, this and that. That easement, that road that they kept, trimmed, was dry for probably 10+ years now. I can't even get on it because it's so wet, so something has drastically changed something.
That stays wet all year long.
It does, it never used to stay wet.
It comes out on my property too.
Did they do work back there?
I have no
What they
idea.
did, they took a machine, they notified us that we were gonna make it area, because they had to have 25 yards on each side of the line, so we went to helicopter there, they had a problem, and checked out. And they brought this huge machine, I didn't see it, Carol, done chopping trees, clearing, did everything on one shot.
I don't even go back there to ride anymore because you just can't get rid of it's a mess.
Well,
There's
there's
something drastically changed, so.
and that's the issue, is that it doesn't become us, and I'll tell you where you're gonna get with soil and water, you're gonna get with, they're all gonna push it back onto the homeowners and say, fight it out between you because someone stopped something down the road.
Okay, but
But the issue I have, period, which I know is something we can do about, we have to, is that safety issue. You cannot have ice coming across the way. The county should know that.
the real issue is the elevation's the same. I got an elevation map from the county, and it's exactly the same as the erosion. All the erosion went through the culvert and just loaded down grounds.
Well, look, is the ditch in front of your house, is it clogged up anywhere down the
No,
lane?
it's open, but if it gets to the other side, you don't want to. You can see the water goes through, it's not the culvert itself, but it's the elevation. Water has no place to drain off,
How long have you lived there?
since 2007.
Did this just start?
This past 5-6 years, it's been getting worse, but the last 3 have really been noticeable. The flooding is almost up.
Let me speak, please. I'm his wife. It is impossible after last winter. I have a son in the back. His whole road swept out. All our gravel in both roads are over in that bog.
I'm just trying to figure out when did this start happening, that it really got bad, so we can kind of pinpoint maybe
Probably
what
about 7 years ago.
happened.
It was drained, but each year, there was drainage staff.
Okay, our 10 minutes is over.
But Sue, if it's okay with you,
What?
I just want, Dave, are you allowed to say what Nancy's or my house?
I didn't.
With what Nancy was talking about?
Well, yeah, well, she
I just want
put
you to
a
know
work
this.
order in too. The county's gonna come out and look at the culvert pipes and stuff right there. But like we discussed before, a lot of it's right on the private property. There's not much they can do about it. Where soil and water should have been the next step, so.
But my question is, somebody's gonna get hurt, it's a curve, and they didn't see the guys last year, thank God nobody got hurt, but somebody's in for terrible.
Well, I'm gonna give all the stuff you gave me to Mike Collins. That way he can see the pictures of the road flooding and stuff. Then
And
that
it
way-
drained off perfectly, we were happy for years, I mean, that water, you can see it just roll.
Now, let me say something again. Every year we replenish. I work myself to death on it with tractors and dirt and ordering it. It's all sitting in the bog now. And that's what the soil and water told us. He said, look, it's over there. Don't put any more in because that's where it's gonna go. I put in 8 ton this past fall. In pounds of grass seed just to fix the water.
And I put in over 150,000.
It's coming to our door. I mean, they've seen our front yard. It now will not grow
Well,
grass.
I totally understand your issue with that. It's just that the process to get to it, we have to figure out where it's flooding. If there's a spot that caused it, that it can be fixed, that
Yeah,
fixing down the road. That's Portage County's road, so all Dave can do is go over there and look and say, hey, Collins, can you look at this section and have somebody come and look? Or try to figure out if anything's been disturbed around there in the last 10 years that's changed your water flow somehow.
the water flow seems to be the same time as the culvert, that's where it stops. So the issue has to be right there.
So my suggestions, and I mean, I know you can't do anything, but I really think we should put a letter together from the board. I mean,
Oh, that's a good
emphasizing
idea.
it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I made it clear, the county is not my friend.
Yeah.
You know, we have to put up with them, but apparently they don't have to put up with us.
Will you make a motion and I'll second it?
Okay, so But I'll let you draft the letter,
Right.
and then we'll have to get together and sign it, and so we'll send it certified, whatever, I don't want them telling us they never got it. So, I'm gonna make a motion, that the board notifies the county of the safety issue their roads are creating. Their actual roads are creating.
We'll have to go to the engineers.
Yep. Well, I wanna send this to the commissioners too, because they tend to hide also. Which commissioner did you talk to?
Sabrina. In fact, she wants a call as soon as we go home.
So should we do that, or?
Sabrina's a good person.
Yes.
Yep.
She sounds like we went through all the steps.
Right.
But then she says she'll take it from there, whatever comes out of this meeting.
Right.
Now, my neighbors that I've talked to, it's a hard thing to do because neighbors a little bit don't want to hear you. They have said that we can't do anything. They said they have tried for years. And this is a very,
You can't do anything on private property, but when it's affecting our roads, not our roads, their roads.
it's coming back to us.
I mean, now like these kids driving to school, freaking texting, all they need to do is hit a patch of ice and you're gonna find them in somebody's front yard.
And we have been sitting on the mailboxes being torn down repeatedly, and nurses and therapists coming through that water. I've talked to them.
Let's don't talk about mailboxes. County owes me a lot.
I'll second that motion.
I've quit replacing my paper box, it just sits there.
Okay,
So
so
that didn't even sound like I was,
Thank you for listening.
like I was cutting you guys off. I just know we just had this probably a year ago and it works out. It was a very frustrating process.
I know.
It sounds very similar
and
to.
like I told Mike, there's nothing really we can do other than make noise. We'll make noise.
You point us in the right direction, we'll just keep on going.
Serena's a good person, and I think when we send this letter out, I want it to go to all three commissioners, that way they can't say, well, nobody ever told me about it.
Right.
So, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming.
Can you just get
Thanks,
that
Brad.
back?
Yeah, sure. I get a letter written up. Okay, let's see, who's in this? Teresa? Oh,
I'm Teresa Roth Vogel, and this is my husband, my father, Rudy. My friend Rex Marshall, field graduates here, my sister Penny Henderson, and I have been so generously given Roth Lake, which is situated down on Sunview Drive, by my father, who built the lake. Used to be family farmland, 5 generations. We love our lake. We are here today to simply inform you that we have a project in the works. It's a private lake, but our spillway flows under Sunview Drive and into the waters of the Magra Reservoir. We are looking at a culvert pipe that will be the second one that we've replaced. And we know we're squeaking very close to the point where that spillway, which is metal, will be rusting through and it will need to be replaced. We've met a few times with Dave Ruther to inform him that this needs to be done at some point in the future. We don't have anything set yet. And at this point, my friend Rex Marshall, who is a project manager and surveyor, is helping us with that and will speak for our family. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate.
you guys got a lot of geese down there.
Yeah, would you like some? Come get them. Please come get them.
Too many geese.
Yes, that's an issue. We have issues.
Get some swans.
Yes.
On your map, just so I understand, is this part not part of the lake now that's gonna be part of the lake? When you said you're gonna be,
No, that part is separate.
okay, that part's dry right now, isn't it? And so the kind of Nestor's and Stewart's house.
Yeah.
Crazy, because it-
If you look at this topo map, look at this map here, it'll show you the map
That's our.
Okay.
with the lake.
So you're expanding?
North is right up. North is-
You're expanding it?
No. Here's the nature of the project. Is there's an emergency spillway on this lake.
Where's that at?
The emergency spillway is right where this irregularity of the right of way of Sunview Drive is, right here.
She gets it. Right?
the emergency spillway that's close to the Akron City. It's right in here, right, see that creek right there?
Right, just the wrong way.
You have that, over there, that's the right way.
Okay, that's the reservoir.
That's correct, reservoir over here. So there's an emergency spillway structure that Ken built back in the 60s. And it was a corrugated metal pipe. And the outfall structure of that emergency spillway was corrugated metal pipe as well. And it goes under Sunview Drive. We had met with Dave a couple years ago, before the pandemic, to observe the condition of the emergency spillway and the culvert crossing underneath Sunview Drive, and they're both quite deteriorated. And we know, for what we've seen, a lot of flooding, a lot of stormwater runoff coming into this lake from project or property up above. So we know that the amount of water that comes into that lake is significant. And in light of its deteriorated state, the first item on our agenda is to get the emergency spillway and the culvert underneath Sunview Drive replaced. Now, up to this point, we did a total purge of Portage County records, planning department, engineering department, auditor's office, women of Suffolk County, really purged records, some of which is in your lap right now. There, you can get one of these. There you go. We met with the Summit County Water, Soil and Water Conservation District, Eric Long. We've had 2 meetings as well as an on-site meeting to observe the situation. We have somewhat a complex project in that we have, you can imagine, Old Forge Road and Route 43. On the southeast side of that intersection is the Carter Jones Lumber Company property. Someday that's going to be developed. And as Eric had indicated, they're going to hold their stormwater back due to the requirements of post-development flow, pre-development flow analysis. They'll have a big retention basin up on the east side of 43 when that occurs. And in the meantime, the silt and soil comes down into a culvert underneath Route 43, catch basin and a culvert, and it goes down into the lake. And we have a flash drive. We'll present it at some later time. We have a plan to get it going. We have a flash drive of the flooding that takes place around and across Sunview Drive in the past. Just as our friends here have a problem up on Ranville Road.
It comes over our road.
You're all related, you're all on that same.
Yeah, in the same watershed.
Right, you're saying about it, all of that.
Flooding comes over the road.
It has come close in the past. We've had a few very near falls where it's fortunate we have one little ditch that stopped it, but flooding can be a future
It would be
concern.
great if it came over the road. Because that would,
At some point, we'll look at the flash drive. It's too preliminary at this point to present that to you, but it's significant enough to know that we have a problem, like they have a problem, a lot of stormwater runoff coming into the lake. And the spillway as it's sized, as it currently exists, doesn't handle the amount of runoff in the months of February, March, and April. You see what
so
I'm
this
saying?
is a private lake.
This is a private lake. That's right. Private lake, Township Road, Sunview Drive, and the spillway is at the end of private property, but the culvert crossing is under Sunview Drive. And I started saying we have a little bit of a complexity here because we have Carter Jones up above, which we totally respect their willingness and desire to do what they want to do with that property. We have the lake property, which is privately owned by the Ross. And then we have the culvert crossing, which discharges in the creek. There's a creek that goes west of Sunview Drive, across the city of Akron property, and discharges the water from that lake and the siltation and the erosion that comes from everything up above into where? Magada Reservoir. Who do we have to deal with? Wow. The city of Akron, EPA. We have to make sure that both EPA, city of Akron, and the Army Corps of Engineers are informed about what we're doing. We don't want to operate in a vacuum. We do want to keep everybody informed. So we will do that, And we know that our purpose of being here this morning is to present to you the fact that we have this project, a spillway replacement, an emergency spillway replacement box, and a culvert crossing underneath Sunview Drive. We want you to know that we have met with Eric Long from the Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District 3 times on this. He's given us great advice and counsel. And we also have met with Dave on site a couple years ago to just start opening up the dialogue about what's going on there. And I think in conclusion, from my part here, we know from everything that we've seen, what we've documented, and what's on the flash drive, which we'll present when we come in with the final engineering plan of this. Because we've been advised our next step to you, and we can work together at this, is to get an engineering plan. We have to have an engineer and a surveyor. That's what I used to do. I've retired.
You sound like you know what you're doing.
I know enough to be dangerous, let's put it that way. And I know there's better people that do this, other than I've helped them as best that I can.
Right.
I've not renewed my license once I retired. But the point is, we know our next step is to come up with an engineering plan so we can present it to you for ultimate approval. Review that with contractors as to what it will cost to do the emergency spillway replacement and the culvert replacement. And because it's under a township road, Sunview Drive, certainly work with Dave as to any possibility we can, get the project done. I don't know whether the township does this kind of work themselves, or they sub it out, or we have, it depends, yeah. And we'll have to take it one step at a time once we get an engineer.
Right. The only flags I see, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or whatever,
I understand.
it's a private way. And the roads is our issue, 5 feet on both sides, somewhere around there.
It depends on.
Yeah, depending on that, so, that's why I was hoping you guys would tell me that it's flooding your road. Because once it floods your road, then we can do something about it. Because our job is to prevent, like the county, which apparently doesn't want to do anything about this, but it's, and David is shooting on loud they collect all this money called stormwater management.
No kidding.
But nobody ever knows where the money goes. For Mike's issue or an issue like this, to me, these are
I
issues.
know.
What's the county doing with it? Are they, maybe they're getting little Ferraris and they're all, I don't know. I don't know.
It's always a jurisdictional issue. They say it's not our jurisdiction.
We're in government, you try to help people. I don't understand, maybe I'm wrong, commissioners don't get mad at me, but why aren't they trying to help us? Why does it always feel like we have to fight them to get, it's our tax dollars, give me a break.
Well, that floodplain there, what we're talking about, you're all in the same, Crow's Flag are in the same area. Guy Beach
It's in the watershed. It's not a floodplain until it's sitting back in the property on the west. But the watershed is
The area of the forest behind Elmer's Court is all underwater. Now, it wasn't underwater 20 years ago, but it's pretty much all underwater.
Remember, the first name of Brimfield was Swamp.
That
That was their first name, Swamp.
Okay.
And Chick remembers that back when they were, beach crest, to make beach crest, they all went through with sticks of dynamite and blew the trench.
Just something else I can add to this whole problem.
Chick used to be.
Years ago, this had to be in the 50s or 60s, the county had a plan where they were going through and cleaning the ditches in the creek behind all properties. That was what they did. So that the drainage was up. Now, this is what happened. They got a couple of properties where the property owner wouldn't let them on the property. They wanted paid because they were letting them go across the property. Then they quit. Well, they didn't do it anymore, but they were at one time. They had excavators, they had, actually they had a barge that went down the creek with them if the creek was big enough. Right, they stopped with the people and started saying, no, you're not touching my property.
I'm sure there's enough clogged up back through there all the way, just like it some more space.
Well, I say we should work together on this. I mean, I can't make any promises, understand, but I mean, if we can work together on this, I'm gonna run down there and try to stay away from the geese, but they destroyed my lake. I got limbia everywhere now.
Just say one thing, we know and understand that this is our private lake and responsibilities fall on us, but what we're hoping that our Brentfield Township could help us with is paying for the culvert pipe that goes under the road, and of course they would be involved in all of that.
They've not equal as that culvert,
It's about 70 feet.
so that's something we can't.
It's a 15-inch pole.
And I might add that we've inspected it, we've crawled down and the culvert pipe that's there now is paper thin. It's just almost, it just falls apart.
If it goes, the lake
Very
will go. If that emergency spillway CMP, corrugated metal pipe, the stack pipe, goes through deterioration. We've been working on this very casually for 3 years, kind of moving the ball down the field. But if that stack pipe goes, which there's leaks already, the whole lake will go. And that lake has a lot of fish, a lot of great fish, and a lot of wildlife in it.
The ones that really collapse at the culvert goes.
It's underneath it, 7 foot, so.
What do you think, Dave?
If the culvert collapse, it wouldn't cause the pond. What he's talking about is a spillway that's running in the pond itself. If that starts collapsing, then there's no way to stop the water, and just,
Oh, so this is more than just the project under the road,
this is a spillway and everything.
See that box? Look at your last page.
I can
This
dig
is
it out
what
to
we,
you, Mike, someday.
this is what we envision as a solution, the last page of what you've been given. Okay, and what I've done the last 3 years, I've been involved in, that's it, yeah, that's kind of like what we're looking at, some concept there. Now, realize that has to be sized, it has to have a hydraulic analysis by an engineer for the size, the inflow, the outfall, the rear, dimensions for the adequate flow for a certain year storm with a certain runoff coefficient. All this is an engineering analysis that will size that box and size that outflow culvert. And this time it should have an end wall at the end of it instead of just poking it out into the creek.
I mean, I could see us, I'm the only one trustee, I could see it possibly helping underneath the road. But when it comes to private property, we can't.
I understand.
We went through that with the person on Congress State Road. We couldn't touch it.
We understand, because you do that for one, you got to do it for others, and we understand.
Right, well, I think your best guys keep us informed.
Do that.
Dave, I wanna go down there with you. I'd like to see you a little bit better than this.
Is it right next to the barn that's there?
Yeah.
It's right by where the fire department has it.
There you go. Yeah.
It's right next.
The fire department has that in, out back there, yes, and draw, which they did for the dust.
Sometimes when you got time.
When the Dust Farm was burning, we had several fire departments come down and draw water out of our lake, and we were so glad they could use it. But at this point, I want to thank you for your attention to this. It's going to be a developing project. This culvert pipe could rust and go tomorrow, it could be 3 years. I know when my father replaced it many years ago, 30 years ago, we were told, the metal ones last about 20 years. Well, we're way past that. So,
Well, I'm glad you guys are getting ahead of us a little bit.
yes, and it took the whole lake drained, the other one corroded and rusted through. Our lake was dry for 3 years. My son walked through 7 artesian springs that feed into that lake. But in the spring, when it freezes up above and all the ground is frozen, we get all the water from Carter's Field, it's really frightening. And we have some unbelievable flooding issues and other concerns that we'll address at a later time.
It's a pretty big.
We know our commitment to you is to be meeting with engineers as the next step. And come up with, selecting an engineer to do the analysis and the drawing to present to you as the next step. And we will then, after that, work with contractors to find out how much such a thing will cost once we have our plans. They know what they're going to do.
Well, when you want to get together sometime, let me, I can come with Dave.
Appreciate it.
If we have 3 board members there, too, it's considered a meeting, sorry. So I can bring back to the board what you guys, just keep us informed.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you, Sue. Mike?
Thank you for coming in.
I'd like to say one
Thank
thing.
you.
We have a problem right now from across the street in State Route 43. It's a settling pond now, our lake is. What the state did is they replaced the water flow past Johnny Bruchek's place down there. You know where that's at? Okay, they brought it from that road and straight up to this culvert. They could have went down the other way, the state. And there's a 20-foot elevation drop to the bottom of Evie's Hill, they call it Evie's Hill. There's a stream there that goes around our lake into the Montgomery Reservoir. This should be addressed. If they ever put a allotment in there, they'll probably put a settling pond over there. They have to today. So I would like to have that addressed.
Our greatest desire, would they please consider putting in a retention,
They have to.
Well, Mike, you would handle all that if there's a subdivision already.
If there's, so this would still fall under the county engineer's office because there are engineers. Yeah, and in what they're talking about, if there's a merger, and I didn't want to speak out of turn, but if there's a merger between private, which is a private lake, and then actually the township, because you have a culvert pipe underneath there, there's actually funding available through Regional Planning Commission, which they might give you a grant on this one.
Okay, well, one more, if you need to, Mike's our zoning guru, and it would be good for you to get to know him. Absolutely. Because Mike knows how the mechanisms work.
Okay. Mr. Rock, when you say Evie's Hill, does that go down into Evie's Pond behind the high school? Is that where that all flows into from that same spot? Because right behind Portage Commons is the campground.
yes, Robert Eby used to live there.
Right.
But that's, the Route 43, I don't think has that much of a drop. But when it gets to Evie's Hill, there's
When did they
all
switch
the
on
way
that?
to 22 feet.
When did they do that? When did they change the?
About 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That all flows into Evie's
And he
Pond.
requested that they take it on further,
It's the same area,
and then
it all goes the same area. It's all a part of it.
Maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Because the problem, and I don't mean to hold us up anymore, the problem that we're having on Congress Lake Road is that it's coming from Evie's Pond in the back, and it's flooding across the street and flooding the little pond that's right there, and then somebody blocked off one of the lakes going into the back, so it can't get to the reservoir. But if you're pumping more water down that way now, it all started happening in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
It really got bad down there. It's all connected. Your problem's it's all part of the same.
Well, that's new information, we didn't realize that.
That's why we knew so much about the
But I don't,
soil
I don't
water.
think we're gonna settle it.
Sure, deal with that.
Interesting
Okay.
to hear and see.
Well, I don't
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
See us again.
Okay,
Okay.
hey, you want my telephone number? Can you get in touch with me?
Yes.
It's,
You have a card or?
that's all right, just haven't used the card in
I got it.
forever. Here, I'll get
I
I got it, you have one, I have it all right there.
That would be great.
Here,
Nice,
you give him yours.
Yes.
Sometimes I can't figure it out, I'm in a picture.
Thanks, guys.
That's He goes right back there.
What's that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Look forward to meeting you.
Take care.
We gotta do the minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that
All
we
right,
approve.
we're going ahead with our meeting.
That was my, yeah. Okay, John, I'm gonna make a motion that we
See you later.
the minutes for second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike?
Aye.
Yeah.
Motion passed.
Myself.
Okay, does anybody have any changes in the agenda?
Yeah, I do.
I got it.
Under admin, I'd like to put number 3 and legal language for our township car usage.
Okay, number 3, legal line. Township cars. Okay, got that, Sue? And then Dave wants to add,
This is gonna be Cascade Road Project and then Salt.
okay, Sue, under,
2A.
under roads, we got 2A.
I can't hear. I got my hearing aids in, but I still can't hear. Background noise does me in. Go ahead, Mike.
2A will be Cascades Road Project.
Oh, that's under road department?
Yep. And then 2B will be salt bits. Okay.
So,
Did anybody else have any changes? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the amended agenda.
so moved.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. Purchase orders. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the purchase orders.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the warrants.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, now it's time for public comments and questions. Anybody have any?
My name's Steve Demetrio, I'm running for the Ohio Construction Representatives. I just wanted to come.
Oh, you poor man.
Wanted to come and introduce myself. I live in Geauga County, I'm running for the 35th district. It's a new district, it's parts of Geauga, Portage, and Summit counties. So I'm a township resident myself, I live in Bainbridge Township, so I'm trying to visit all the townships in the district and introduce myself at these meetings before we have the election in November. And I hope to, be an advocate for y'all if I, God willing, if I win in November and continue this relationship. And, I want to come to these beyond just election season and learn about what's going on in each township and city and village in my district. So I appreciate you having me and thanks for all y'all do at the township level. I know, obviously, as we heard today, there's a lot of quality of life issues that get addressed here. A lot of the meat and potatoes of government are, at the township level. So I just want to say thanks, introduce myself. I grew up in Geauga County, and after high school, I attended the United States Military Academy at West Point. Former Army Ranger, small business owner, and first-time political candidate. So really excited to bring some service leadership to have in the district down in Columbus. And please reach out if there's anything I can do for, for the township or anyone in the township. And I'll leave my information and let you guys carry on with the important stuff. But thanks so much.
What's your name again?
Steve Demetrio.
Can you spell that?
Yeah, it's first name Steve, last name Demetrio, T as in Delta, E, M as in Mike, E, T as in Tango, R-I-O-U.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I don't know, you ever heard of Mama Leone's restaurant?
No.
No, well, I just didn't. Gene, our uncle donated 612 acres to West Point.
Okay, awesome.
Thank
And
you.
all I remember is all the waste of money. Because we'd go back in the woods and we would find ammo containers, helmets. I mean, apparently they're okay with that. I don't know what those cost, but my God, a little kid, it was like an Easter egg.
Yeah,
So that's funny.
It's a beautiful part of the country.
It is beautiful, so. And so you're prepared to work for 1 year and then run for the next year?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
learned that pretty quick.
That's bullcrap. You need to change that. You guys need more than 2-year terms. Because, I mean, you're so concentrated the first year learning the job. Sure. Then the next year, you're gonna be concentrated trying to keep your job. It's no way to do business.
Yeah, it makes it tough,
And just, remember, townships are treated like someone's illegitimate, stepkid.
yeah.
We have no rights, we have no money, we have to bend to the whims of the cities.
Yeah, I picked up on that, Mike, throughout the meeting. You a couple phones.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, good luck, man.
Thanks. Yeah,
Are you Republican or Democrat?
I'm
Am I allowed to ask?
a Republican, so yeah, and I'll add that, I'm unopposed in the Republican primary, but there is regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat, there is a special primary election on August 2nd, so, that's maybe my one ask, is just encourage your,
I'm glad to see some young people getting involved.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank
Good
you.
luck, man.
Hey, thanks.
Okay, good luck. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't waste your time with this meeting, I would go to the next stop.
Oh,
Oh, he's a businessman? Oh, no. Oh, they
Sue,
work.
do you have anything to say? Okay. Let's see, next one.
Oh, I know what, down in our agenda, do we want to make any kind of promotion to send, the, Miller, the Smith people?
We already did, we put that in the beginning.
We did
The
that,
letter.
yeah, but do we have to go, the letter and everything? All right, good, Jake, go ahead.
Any safety concerns? Dave, I texted you during the meeting, someone dumped a bunch of gravel.
Where at, did they say, by Gobbler Park?
No, farther up.
Oh, cause we, by near Gobbler Park, we fixed the spot that got destroyed by a skid steer with our dirt
Did you
patch.
put limestone down?
Well, it'd be the number 8 limestone, yeah.
Oh, that's by you guys.
Mhm.
Are they gonna throw patch it or anything?
Oh, we did dirt patch it. What, the little bit of loose stuff's on top to keep car tires from sticking to the
Okay.
dirt patch.
Okay, just as long as the motorcycle doesn't get.
It'll be all right if we're doing speed.
Okay. Okay, well, let's get into the meeting. Boy,
Mike?
how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good.
A couple of informational items for you this morning. Following up on the discussion we had on the rear parking lot of the police station, I've been working with Dave, facilitating some meetings with a couple of different asphalt companies on getting some estimates to make repairs to our back lot. I know we had 2 sessions yesterday. I wasn't able to be at the second session. But once I get all that information in hand, I'll follow back up with the board to give you information on what our options may be to make repairs to that back parking lot.
So you're gonna turn it into more parking lot for you guys?
You know, I don't know if it's gonna be more, but we do have the option.
More usable space.
Well, definitely more usable. We have that impound lot area that's currently like a gravel, well, I'll use that term.
Are you gonna take some of that fence down? I mean, is there any point for it now?
We could, there's different options there. They gave us, I think they're gonna give us separate quotes on if we wanted to pave that area. We're gonna treat that as a separate piece and see what that cost would be, and that'll give us some options to look at. So I'm just working with Dave, and once we get all that information in hand, I'll bring that back to you guys and see if there's an option that we can work with. So that's just in progress right now.
Even if you could take that front part down, so you're gonna have easy access back and forth.
Yeah,
I think you're not gonna really be storing stuff anymore.
yeah, we have some options. We do have some options. But I'll follow back up with you once I get all that in hand. Dave, I appreciate your help on that.
Well, it's, like you mentioned last meeting, but we're also trying to incorporate the cemetery lot, or the drives as part of that project together, to do the rest of the cemetery, paving along with this parking lot.
Just
So Dave's getting all-
the main drive of the cemetery, not every drive, just the main one going from 43 to the back of the police station.
That's a pretty active road,
Yes.
so.
But I'll follow back up with you, with the board, once all that information is in hand. Second item is kindergarten safety school is coming up. That's going to be Wednesday, August 3rd through the 5th. It's going to be at Victory Baptist Temple. Our graduation is going to be on that Friday, August 5th at 11 o'clock, if any of the board members would like to swing by for that. As of yesterday, we have 53 kids attending the program. So it's a good number of kids. That's all I have for you under old business. I have one item for you under new business, and I need to request board approval to formally accept our drug use prevention grant from the Ohio Attorney General's Office for the 2022-2023 academic year in the amount of $2,220.40.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion, we accept the drug use prevention grant for 2022-2023 in the number of $2,220.40.
Second,
All those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
And that's all I have for you this morning, unless you have any questions.
Okay, thanks, Lord.
Thank you.
Okay. Fire department, Craig.
Okay, this is more informational also. Really, we're always talking about the station build, but over the past 2 weeks, masons, steel workers, and carpenters were all on site working together. There was a little bit of a conflict on those all three working together, but it's working out. Most noticeable, you'll see the changes in the brick and the roof. That's what you'll see the most, and they're all working good, but the bricklayers are really, really good. So really getting at it. Additional costs that we've talked about over the past few meetings seem to be working out once we established a way that they were to send those off, meaning Rycon needs to send it to the architect needs to review everything, send it back. So seems to be working out the way we want it to. I'm sure there'll be something pop up here real soon. But really, that's going good.
Craig, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, so the gazebo, I went up and met with Scott yesterday for a while, and where they cut out that, and I understand that's where all your HVAC and everything's gonna be.
Yep.
So I know there's nothing Scott can do, but I know you guys can do it. We need to, the only really way it's gonna be able done is they're gonna put some kind of retaining wall there.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Right, but they need, once they build that retaining wall, it would be nice if somehow they could use the same brick to build, because you gotta have that, you're either gonna put a fence there or something to keep people, or Uncle Earl from driving his wheelchair over your cliff. So you need to make sure that they're looking into that, because apparently there was no drawings on the blueprints for any of this.
So Sue and I were at meetings that we've had brought up that, and they were going to get back to their engineer and get back to us.
Yeah, they still haven't got back to Scott, so.
It is been
So,
topic.
did they just,
Yeah, it's a hot topic,
okay. I
really.
mean, it's just, because for years before, you know how many people got married there. And somehow we're gonna create that venue again so people can take advantage of that historical piece of the township.
So again, all I can say is it's being looked into. And I don't
Okay, well, just so it's on the board's radar.
Yeah, I gave the recommendation of planting that, put your wall up, and then above that, you're gonna plant that in ivy or something, and then put up a decorative railing.
As long as
fence.
it's a safety.
Yeah, it'd be a safety thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to have some steps coming down, so people can come there and come on down the hill. But it's been a hot topic on our
Go
radar
down to
for
the
about a
building.
month.
I don't know if they need to get down to the HVAC. I mean, well, whatever they come up, they just need to get working on it.
It's not being overlooked.
Right, okay, good. Okay, great.
So again, I'm out there every day looking at that stuff, and we're keeping an eye on it. Upcoming events, I think Roy is aware of this too. We'll have a poker run. This is informational on wrestling in the wrestling cemetery on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Just so you know, or if you see
What's a
something.
poker run?
Bunch of motorcycles.
It's for a former township member's son or grandson.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what it is. They've requested police and fire assistance.
What do you do in a poker run?
They just go to different spots and they end up in the cemetery where the young man's been buried.
Okay.
And he's buried in Wrestling Cemetery.
Okay.
So they were just requesting because of military experience and former member,
Oh,
our presence.
Okay, well, I didn't know what a poker.
So if you come
run
down
was.
43 at 11 a.m. and you see a fire truck sitting out there and police assistance,
Yeah,
that's,
well, I
that's
think
what's
that's
going on.
Okay.
Is that this weekend, Craig?
That's on Saturday.
We have a funeral Saturday too, 8 o'clock.
All right, this is 11 a.m.
Okay.
They're very specific about when they're coming in. And I think
So are they just driving from the police department around?
No, they've got a whole route to take you through multiple communities. We're just one of seven.
No, I meant when they come into our cemetery. I just get worried about having a bunch of motorcycles back there
I'm
too.
assuming they're gonna come right in off 43 into that drive. That's gonna be the entrance point. Yeah.
Are they going to someone's grave?
Yes. They'll
Is
go
it right
to
off the main drag there?
I'm not sure where the site is in. I know that they've done this previously. So I know they'll all come in and find some place to park their bikes back there in a designated spot, but I don't know exactly what that spot is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gilbert.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah.
So anyways, that'll be Saturday morning at 11 a.m.
So it's like a memorial.
Yeah, I
It's like a
anticipate them being there an hour, or a half hour, an hour, and then they'll
Yeah.
clear out.
Okay.
Is there gonna be somebody, PD or anybody, just making sure they're not driving up on the grass and doing all that stuff, because we don't.
Yeah, we're gonna help,
Concerns
we're gonna
about
flag a couple intersections so they can get through a couple of red light intersections. This is gonna be a large contingent of motorcyclists.
Mhm.
So we'll facilitate getting them through, because they're coming off Howe.
So we'll try to facilitate them all getting off of 43 into the cemetery. So we'll have a follow-up unit there, but yeah, we could certainly have a unit. Throughout.
Will we go
Yeah, I
to
would
some
say they're
pictures
gonna
for
be, my
Facebook?
assumption is they're gonna be very
Will we do
respectful,
some pictures
given the
for
nature of
Facebook
the
for
event,
community
and not
event?
going to damage any property. I will. We'll certainly have my guys there.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
And that's, I don't need any board action or anything, so that was just, that's it, formative.
Sounds good. Okay, administration. No, we have anything.
Yep.
Here too. Building purchase agreement.
That's, it's in here. What we need to get this approved. This is for the ARP funds from the federal government for the acquisition. What's that?
Okay.
That's all part of the same thing. American Rescue Plan. For the purchase of the property for 75 at Kelso Drive. So what we're doing here is we're gonna make the motion, because we have to use this format for ARPA to use it. And we fill it all out as we need to do it, but we need to get it signed then by the trustees. So
Do I need to read it?
you can, but what we just need today is just I think I emailed that over you guys too. That's the ARPA paperwork. Oh, okay. That's not working.
Okay, so I'll just, okay, everyone get comfortable. Whereas this day, July 27th, 2022, trustees move to adopt the following resolution. The township has received the distribution of monies, the ARPA funds from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, or the Act. Whereas Congress passed the Act effective March 11, 2021. Whereas Section 603 created the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which is, among other things, appropriation money to cities, non-entitlement units, local government, counties to mitigate the fiscal effects stemming from the public health emergency in respect to the coronavirus, COVID-19. And whereas 703C generally provides that the use of funds subject to the paragraph 2 and except as provided in paragraph 3 and 4, a metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government or county shall only use funds provided under a payment made under this section to cover costs incurred by metropolitan cities and entitlement units of local government or county by December 31st, 2024. As to respond to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, or its negative impact, including administrations to households, small businesses, nonprofit, or aids of impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. To respond to workers performing essential work in COVID-19 public health emergency. Do I have to read this whole thing?
I wouldn't say so, but it's the COVID, it's gonna be in the document. We're approving, you can just say we're approving the ARPA document for the funds on the back.
And this will be available if anyone wants to
That's
see.
gonna be in the minutes, the entire, it's a 4-pager, but
Yeah,
in sense, what it is that we're using the $475,000 of the over $1 million. We got 537 one time, and I think we got 543 the second draw. So
okay, so
we have over $1 million.
So what this is in essence, we are purchasing 4286 Kelso Drive, Kent, Ohio, for the purpose of library and park and rec building. And this is going to be the old daycare center.
Correct.
And it's going to be a crucial piece to our town center concept. So now we will have the library, we'll have the soccer fields, we will have the Kelso House, and it's all going to be known as town center. So this will be a great asset for senior citizens, for
Park programs.
parks programs, everything. And this is not township money, this is money that we were given,
Correct.
that we have to
From the federal
use.
government, yes, that we have to use or we lose it. And there's certain qualifications in regards to what we can use it for, and the purpose we're using for it on this qualifies for.
Right. And we're gonna have sidewalks connecting everything, so watch out for Chick. So. Okay, so, and how is this motion?
I'm just gonna insert the whole thing. You
Okay,
just need to, here, you're on the front page here, you're just gonna approve it, or you're making the motion.
okay.
Susan or whoever.
I'm just.
I'll fill it in if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that, Well, so
We approved the ARPA funding for the
we approved ARPA
library
funding.
park building purchase of $475,000.
There you go. We got a
Sounds
second?
good to me, I'll second that.
We'll make Sue read the next part.
Okay. So go ahead and,
Okay, so all in favor, Mike?
yes,
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
and I know Nick would be a big yes.
Just an FYI on that, we had an inspection yesterday that went through and they didn't find anything out of line with it.
It is an amazing building. I mean, we're, most likely, there's so much stuff in there, we're gonna probably have a community day tag sale.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than us all throw it away, but, you know, hopefully, you know, people, we'll let people know that they can get in there after Cassie and they start hoarding the stuff they want.
Right.
So, but it's gonna be, it'll be a great addition to the town center. Okay, good, John. Thanks, John. Okay, the other thing is, for the legal language for township cars, I was a little, we were a little confused and stuff, so I just wanted to have some.
I had two of those. I can't find mine.
Oh,
You got yours?
all this paperwork.
Too much.
I have one somewhere. If anyone has to go to the bathroom, we might as well, it's the time to go. No, I found it, so.
Okay.
Okay, so, this is just clarification of the employee, people that have township cars and stuff. So I called Greg Beck, who would defend us in anything, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I'll read it real quick. Use of township motor vehicles shall be controlled and restricted to township purposes only. Employees who operate township vehicles or other motorized equipment are required to have a proper and valid motor vehicle operator's license, or if applicable, commercial driver's license with appropriate endorsement. The employee shall not use or permit the use of a township vehicle for any purpose other than official business. Employees shall not permit family members or friends to operate any township vehicle unless specifically authorized. In addition, employees shall not permit family members to ride in any township vehicle, and listen to this, without authorization. So, I'll talk with people when we have the time, but,
That's gonna have to be the insert into our employee handbook. That's
Right.
what it's gonna be.
I mean, because I did have some open conversations with Greg on multiple occasions, and I explained our issues, and I mean, I'll have to just explain them to you, and then you can pass them on, so, okay?
Yeah, because eventually, you guys aren't gonna have to approve this, we're just gonna insert that, but when the employee handbook comes out, you're gonna have to approve everything that's in the employee handbook.
Okay,
which-
so how are we gonna so do we have to make a motion to have it inserted?
No, I'll just tell her that's well, you can, because that's.
That
you
will
two approved
replace,
it.
this will replace, I like this because it's got, the language that, is so much better than what we already have
Right.
in our book.
And I
And this
mean-
just clarifies it, and it's all legal and it meets all the
Right,
requirements.
and there might be an occasion where we can authorize something. I mean, it's not cut and dried,
Right.
so, there's.
So I think the people that are now driving, the township cars, which they have been, this doesn't change anything for them. I've read the contracts of the department heads and our people, and they should be able to continue using these cars that we have.
Exactly.
Well, and what we need to do, and I would just tell you, if you guys vote on that today, that'll saying that we want to use that wording to insert, I can just pass it along to her.
This would replace what is there.
Yeah,
which
and the
is
one that
better
we're
language.
hopefully getting done by October, that's all gonna be in there, but if you say, go ahead with that.
But I would like to go ahead with this if we vote to accept this. I would like to go ahead with this today so that those that are using our automobiles that we provide, that they would be able to go ahead and work under this one.
So if we move to approve the township employee company vehicle policy, or policy for insertion.
Clarify it or whatever.
For insertion into employee handbook. and effective today. You want to do it that way?
That's fine.
So even though it's not in the employee handbook, that section is going
This
to be
would
approved
supersede,
today.
this would supersede whatever we have.
Right, and then that's gonna be the wording that's in the employee handbook that in October, when it's supposedly gonna be done, that you guys are gonna approve. the
Right.
whole handbook.
That's if would be approved.
Yeah, cause I mean, it sounds like Danielle is, well, she's moving on, I guess, but I mean, you know, they don't wanna, I don't know, this is Greg Beck who represents us.
And that's our attorney.
Yep.
So we're gonna go with that. And if anybody gets sued, then Greg has to approve it or defend us, so.
Yep.
So, who wants to make that motion?
I will. I did a lot of research on this. I'd like to make that motion.
And I will second it.
Okay, I'm just gonna read it again. Move to approve the township employee company vehicle policy for insertion into the employee handbook and effective today, 7/27/22. Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, Mike.
Thanks. So we had a public hearing for Mogador Road, the office research rezoning to light industrial. There was a request on the west side of the road. But when in looking at it, the zoning commission looked at several different options. We had a lot of residents come in for the east side, along with parts of Howe Road where Mogador and Howe meet. So the zoning commission moved for the OR to go to R3 along Howe Road because that is the existing use that's there now. And it's not going to change, and I don't have any other plans for that area as far as light industrial. I'm okay with it going to R3. And they also moved for the OR office research area to go to RR, which is rural residential. And in those changes, they sent it off to the trustees, so I'm gonna need a vote when John gets back for the trustees to set a public hearing for the proposed changes of the zoning map. We're hoping, I mean, obviously there's a timeline involved, so we'd like to get that public hearing.
So when do you want the public hearing?
It would be good before the next trustee meeting.
Do you have a
maybe
date?
Yes, 2 weeks from today. It'd be August the 10th.
Okay, what time do you want to do it at?
Let's do it at 7:30 in the morning. And that there are some people that came to the last public hearing, and this was the consensus of what everybody wanted on this side of the street. This made all the residents happy. And in doing this, Mike and Sue, making this area rural instead of industrial, because they had a lot of concerns making this whole area with a lot of truck traffic, a lot of, and I don't see any signs of making this any kind of industrial at any point. You know, the west side may be something different. East side of the road is all farms right now. We'd like to maintain that agriculture. We've been notified that we have more agriculture now than we did 20 years ago, and this will exceed this. So if we put this back into the rural here, and then the next set of changes you guys will have after this public hearing is that the zoning commission has moved to make OC, open space conservation, RR, which is rural, and then R1, residential. They made motions to get rid of the PRD so that no housing developments can come in those three districts. You're gonna have to go to a medium and high density district to build housing. So some of these lands that people see, you know, being sold 40 acres, 49 acres, things like that. If it's in an OC, RR, or an R1, the zoning commission is moving to remove that section so they cannot build in those areas. They would have to meet the existing. So if it's a 5 acre minimum, you could put a subdivision in, but it's gonna be 5 acre minimum. And that's what they wanna do.
Okay.
We have it at regional planning for that portion of it that is eventually make its way back to here. But you know, this isn't going to stop the housing in the R2, R3, R4 areas. Those are going to continue if there's land available and there's water and sewer. So I just need to make a motion, or to have the trustees make a motion to to set that public hearing.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for August 10th at 7:30 a.m.
Second,
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Mike, that's good. I like that.
The trustees are eventually going to see this. We went through this whole historic district and updating of the comprehensive land use plan. Our comprehensive land use plan is not going to be shelved. We're working at it every single year to continue as we grow to make changes to the plan. This is going to be one of them. This was originally supposed to be light industrial. The commission's going to make the move to make this, for agriculture as well as the housing up on R3 on Howe. But in doing this, we've been requested, and Mike, and Sue, you guys are big proponents on this historic district. And we did discuss this at the last zoning commission, and there's some great ideas with this coming along that eventually you'll have a presentation from regional planning on.
That'd be great.
Ravenna has already made a move with their historic district. They got interns in, it was less than $10,000, but created a whole historic district. And you have the architectural students from Kent State coming in and helping with that. So I think it's
So if we would create that, would we be able to, for the benefit of the historical district, does that open us up to grants for people that possibly own the structures to?
There was a request from the zoning commission to look into it from the state level to receive tax credits on historical. So Todd Pease is looking into that for the zoning commission. So they're going to propose a whole packet with you as well as.
So the house next to Ultra Care, if this would be come to fruition, that would.
Yeah, that could come. And there's a purchase agreement, I believe, in place for that. I spoke with the gentleman on that one who wants to restore it back to a historical home.
Right.
So.
There's just so much stuff that's starting to deteriorate in that area. That farm chick, who owns that big farm on the corner of Ranfield and 18?
Peach.
Huh?
Peach, her name is Peach, isn't it?
Peach
Oh, sure.
Schumacher, right?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Gosh, so something that vintage, just these barns and stuff we're losing,
Yeah.
And, I don't want to get off the mean, but that building that's farther down, closer to Rudy's in between, that big white one. What
That
did
apartment.
that used to be?
That used to be a church. If you look right to the top of that, there's like a church.
The
Is
trolley station.
that a church?
Where?
Across from where Sabrina has her business, that great big white house.
I thought that was the trolley stop hotel kind of thing.
No, it was, it was kind of
It was
years
a hotel?
ago. It was
Yeah.
kind of a hotel motel, if you want to call it that, yeah.
Okay.
So the structure looks old.
I don't ever remember.
It's really
being
old.
sure.
Oh, there's pictures of horse and carriage things at the Kelso House in front of there. Like, stop.
Yeah,
Wow. So see, that's a neat little historical district right now, if we can just preserve it.
see, the Johnson House was moved, you
Right.
know that.
Yeah. For $1.
So
It was
Mike,
bought for $1.
that's
The
great. you're
Kelso
doing.
house was bought for
Thank you.
$1.
They've got a great plan. A lot of it's interactive that you could go on a website and it tells you the whole history of a home. So they're doing research and the interns are, and this would be something that you'll be able to see that you can actually click on a map that we have on the website. You can click on each house, find the history of it, who lived there through the years. And
Yeah, that was really neat to see.
It's
That
really
was
cool to see.
Yeah.
So will they help talk us through this?
yes.
Okay, great.
So the next thing is 1435 Talmadge. Mark is drafting and circulating the settlement agreement. As soon as we get this signed by the defendant, then we will share that with you
That's
guys.
Of course.
The shitty house.
The what?
That crappy house.
Okay.
And
They've
then
reached an agreement?
there's an agreement. Yep, they got a painter side it, and then all violations have to be repaired.
Right,
Which I believe-
okay.
yeah.
Have they, have you heard any, is it being purchased or anything?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The one gentleman, there's a purchase agreement, I believe, in place.
There is a
He
purchase agreement?
contacted me and he contacted the attorneys and he wants to restore the home.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Finally, one for the good guys.
Yeah, yeah. And then Heritage of Brimfield Nursing Home is complete with a paving lot, or at least completed the paving lot. They're looking to open within the next month or so.
When do we get to go in?
We could go in. I'll set up a tour for us, and then we'll have a grant. They're also working on a grand opening with Sue, as well as Jiffy Lube. you have the contact information.
Yeah, I got
So,
Jiffy Lube right there. I'm gonna call
We're-
them today.
Sue and Lauren are taking the lead on the ribbon cuttings, and performing our own for Brentfield right now.
Who is?
Sue Fields and Lauren.
Me and Lauren.
So,
That's great.
They've already ordered the red ribbons and the scissors and the bows and all that. We're ready to go.
All right.
so we'll notify you when that is. Jiffy Lube is planning to open and then have the ribbon cuttings like 2 weeks after they open. That's
Make sure
typically
you
how they do it. The nursing home has a big event, planned, which they'll be working with Sue, and I'm gonna put the woman in touch with
They're gonna
her.
get the inside done in 30 days.
That's what they're saying, so we'll see. We'll see.
What's
But
a
here's
lot of big
the
dirt now.
biggest thing that I put on here is there's, I know Dylan's was concerned about it, that the dirt mound was gonna stay, and right away I contacted their engineer and their attorney, and they have an agreement with Brentfield Aggregate to get rid of that soil mound, so. Because we were kind of concerned, we seen
Yeah,
it
I
graded
know.
off, and we're like, oh my God, I can't say.
I know I called you. Because I know, next door,
Yeah,
they're worried about it.
yeah, I would be too. It's kind of unsightly. And then, I did stop in, we had some concerns with the guy selling over at the outpost. And I did meet with him yesterday, he's coming in to pull permits.
Yeah, Outpost is selling?
They're selling barbecue stuff, outside,
Oh,
this guy cooking out there, and so he's got to get a vendor license through us. He did have his health department paperwork, he just didn't get the permits through Brentfield Township.
That's good. I was questioning about that.
Yeah, I was too, yeah. So that
I think
concludes my
it's-
report.
It's just a guy trying to make a living.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, everybody said his food is good, so.
yeah. I mean, just, I know we don't want to chase people out. If we can work with them, we work with them.
No.
I mean, I think it's not like they're gonna be there forever. Okay, thanks, Mike.
I have one question, Mike. It just doesn't seem like it's the right number, and maybe you're just counting a different way. What, the 16 house permits? We've had more than that, right?
Not this year, no.
Even all those were those Cranberry Creeks last year, or the ones?
Most of them were last year from Cranberry Creek. The Hickory Creek ones, all of them that are sold, there's only one permit issued. So we're gonna get a boatload in at one time.
Okay.
We're probably gonna get 20 to 25 permits all at once.
Okay, I'm just thinking, boy, we had a lot of them going up, and it just seemed like there were a lot more than that. So that makes sense now with the Hickory Creek.
Yeah, I don't know why, they're holding off. They only applied for one permit, and that's for the model home. And, we've talked to them, and I think they're trying to get their crew together from Ryan, out there, so.
Because those houses are all sold in a package
They're
with the
all
land.
sold, yeah, they're all sold. You could drive down the street and most of them are,
Right.
majority of the homes are already sold.
So that means they already made a deal with Ryan, and they're just gonna start building.
I think they just need to pull their crews. They have most of their crews out in Lake County right now, is what I heard. And they're trying to free those guys up to come out here.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
So the model home should be going up eventually?
Model home's gonna be going up, on the sublot 1 over as you pull in on the left-hand side.
They just put the electric post up there.
Okay,
And
good.
then the permanent signage was approved for that beautiful sign. It's gonna look pretty classy. And then, it's not on my list well, it's on my list that you guys have. GDI is gonna be pouring the concrete caps on the Brentfield signs. I know Dave's been leading this because after we worked through the paperwork and the easements, I kind of turned it over to Dave, but, they are pouring the caps on those, and then the stonework could go on. Their completion is mid-August, so.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mike. Okay, Dave, road department?
All right, well, I guess we're ready for this big mess. I'm just gonna go right to my agenda stuff that I need approval on a lot of stuff. Yesterday, I got a bunch of information back from the county, and we need to push forward quickly with this. I need the board's approval to, recommend to reject the bid for the 2022 Cascade paving project for Barbatos. All the bids were over 10% above the estimated cost, so the county wants to rebid the job.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we reject the bids for the 2022 Cascades paving project. Give me a second.
Well, make sure the motion's written right, because you
I'm
gotta
gonna
get,
do it just per this.
Okay.
We're, Portage County engineers recommend we reject the bids for the 2022 Cascade projects because
They exceeded the engineer's estimated price, 10%. I mean, I got the whole big shebang if you want to see the whole letter from it.
Second.
Here's, this is what they was, you can.
that's all right. Hold on, see.
Yeah, Mike made it and I gave it a second. I gave a second that we rejected it
10% threshold.
based on the county engineer's recommendation.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, then on the next resolution, I need, board, pass a resolution to rebid the 2022 Cascade paving project at a new cost of $319,342.
What is that? We just have to bid it again.
Number 2.
That's the new number.
That's the new estimated cost of the job. They went through and with the price of everything going up and everything, they come up with a new bid to rebid it.
Well, what was the old bid?
The old bid was, I have it written down here.
Just curious.
When it first started, I was around 230. What did I do with it? The grant was for 253,000.
So we need to move to approve the rebid of 2020, or the 2022 Cascades paving project at a new estimated cost of $319,342.
3,000?
Or 319,342, sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna make that motion, sir.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All righty. Sorry about this, but then I needed the board's approval for the Portage County engineers to prepare a new bid book for the 2022 OPWC Cascade paving project.
I'm going to make that motion.
Second.
So it's going to say, move to have the Portage County engineers prepare a new bid book for the 2022 OPWC Cascades paving project. All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Keeping up, John?
Yep.
All right.
That's why I'm writing on this instead of in my book.
All right, I need the board's approval for bid advertisement dates of July 29th and August 5th.
Okay, so we're gonna need a resolution that's
Make a
advertised.
motion that advertisement dates are July 29th and August 5th for the above project.
Second. Now, the reason that Mike is making all these motions, he is the liaison to the road department.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes,
Motion passed.
Joe, this is his.
All righty, the next one, we can discuss this a little bit, but what I'll need the board's, a resolution for bid opening. We would like to do it at a special meeting on August 17th at 8 a.m. to do the bid opening.
What day would that be?
That would be a Wednesday.
And that's not the day.
It's in between trustee meetings.
Okay.
Is what it is we want to get the project moving forward.
Well, that's fine. I'm gonna make a motion that we have a special meeting to open the bids on August 17th at 8 a.m.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Mike? Yes.
Yes.
Sue?
We make sure they remind us.
Yes, we'll make sure to remind.
And you're working with Rochelle on that and Kirsten to get it.
Yes, I'll get that since we got it passed. I'll get all that.
All right,
All right, my last one I got for you is, I need a board's approval to accept the state bid for salt through the winter of 2022-2023 season.
What is the salt bid?
From Morton Salt for a price of $48.69 a ton.
What was it last year?
43.74 or something
a
like
couple of years ago, it was 60 now.
that. Right, so.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to accept the state bid for salt for the winter of 2022 through 2023 for $48.69 a ton. How many tons is that?
We have right now 1,400.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike? Yep. Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All done.
All right, now I'm all done with that. Jim.
Okay.
I just want to let the board know, this is Tom Weese's last week. He's going back to military school or part-timer. So Thursday will be his last day. I have a welder coming out. He's going to meet me at the soccer field on Friday about the welding in of a man door for the soccer container. And I'm still working on getting prices on the Hunter Ridge signs. We've been waiting for that to happen, so. And I was supposed to have prices before today, but I didn't. So,
You guys are busy.
but other than that, we're just doing some odds and ends, fixing potholes and some other things. And after that, that's the end of my report.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Sue, you got anything?
Nope, doing good.
Okay. Park and Rec.
All right, I wanted to follow up with the quote for the dog park fence. A reminder, I got 2 quotes. One to replace the existing fence as it is with chain link, black coated chain link fence. And one was to expand the dog park. So the question was, for the expansion, did that include a containment area? I went back to Hank and he provided a sketch for us. Do you have a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay, so it does contain the containment area. So, just a reminder, that's a little area where if there's somebody already in the dog park, another dog could be waiting in the containment area while somebody, leashes their dog or, waits for the other person to come.
Now, is this bigger?
It is, yes. So, the original measurements are 80 by 210. This would expand it to 100 by 240. So,
Was it 240 before?
no, it's 210 right now. 80 by 210.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at those fences. I told you that they're not pretty.
No, they have, it was a great project, but it just didn't.
Oh,
hold up.
they tried. I mean, they were just a grassroots group and.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this though, did we approve that last time or did we wait till you heard back?
No, I asked for, I requested another quote.
Well, he kept it the same, so
Yes, the price is the same.
we just need to approve it if we want to proceed.
Right, I mean,
And
You
I
know-
did have 15,000 budgeted for this project, so. it would
well,
be
just
good.
every time, I drive by there so often, and we still have no electricity up there,
Yes.
just to mention. I meant to ask you about that, Dave. If you've heard anything.
No, I haven't heard nothing. I know Lassie was waiting for Edison stuff.
Are they part of the county? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. Okay. I mean, I see so many people use that park.
Yeah.
That's the main draw,
Yeah,
other than sled riding. I'm gonna make a motion, as long as John's good with it.
Yeah.
To have, what's his name?
Frank,
Hank
Hank.
Roberts,
Hank Roberts, that's the name of his company,
yes.
to revamp the dog park for the benefit of Brimfield, it's canines, and the price of $19,110. And I think he does great work.
He does,
It
yes.
really looks good what he did up at the soccer field.
Yeah, so it'll be the same fencing and gates that are at the soccer field. And this will be good for
Second.
Dave too, to be able to get the mowers and then everything.
I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Okay, so it is set up right, Dave, so you can get in and out?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, all those in favor, Mike,
yes.
Sue,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Next, an update on Christmas lights. At the last meeting, I was tasked with doing some inventory. I listed a summary of what I found in the cemetery garage. So I found approximately 50 spools of 100 C9 lights, 25 clear and 25 color, 6 5-foot standing figures, so like the penguins and the frosties and all that stuff, and about 15 inflatables. And there were a couple other odds and ends pieces and some pieces that were owned by the Kelso House are there as well. I believe that's what the township owns. And speaking with the road crew, it seems like a lot of the inflatables and some of the other items were damaged last year. We did have some pretty big windstorms and things. And I know some of the inflatables didn't even make it to showtime because they were just popping and they're just not not the best quality for that. So
So were all the things that you have listed, were they good or are those some of
Yes.
that's good? All right,
yes,
okay.
yep, that's what we have so far. So I've just been reaching out to some different companies. I'm trying to find companies that do rentals and sales of decorations and lights installation. I'm just getting some prices and doing some shopping for decorations of our own. So it'd be really up to the board whether we want to try and rent or own, or how we're going to do that.
Is there any way you can have a list together by next meeting of what those are? Because we're gonna run out of time.
Yes.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, just in talking to Nick, I know he really wants us to do a community day. So, I mean, even if this was a twofold project where we do part of a community day, because, last year Craig was up there for 4 weeks.
Yes.
Whatever, just it's a huge task. So, yeah, more options, that would be great.
Yeah, and one issue is if we were going to be doing the roofs of the buildings or the barn, we don't have the equipment to do that. We don't have a bucket truck or anything like that. So I feel like it would be good to hire a company to at least do that portion of it.
Okay. So you have to just bring that back to us, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to the treaties at the community center, we also discussed this at the last meeting. We got the quotes back from both Apex Solutions and Koonsman Tree Service. Apex came back at $50,000 and Koonsman came back at $32,500 for the tree service.
When, are any of them able to do it now, or what's the schedule like?
We'll have to check with them, but I believe it was fairly soon.
And Dave, did you feel that we needed at least some of them taken out real quick?
Well, I'm discussing with both companies. Like I said, you'd have to take good trees with the bad ones to get them complete, because you're gonna damage them either way. So it's just one of them, we're better off just to do everything at one time and be done with it. That way you're not getting a thing coming back. So.
They take all the wood with them and do all that?
The one company was talking about stacking some of the wood, and then, like we discussed, maybe having residents who want to sign an agreement to take some, haul some away.
But they take all the
They take all the brush and everything, yes. It would only be logs left from them.
How many trees would they take?
There's up to 50 trees.
50 trees.
By the time you go through and look at all the dead ones, and like they said, there's poppy trees. So once you start taking out some of the bigger, say, dead oak trees, the wind will catch them and they'll just snap off because they're soft wood. So they could end up falling in on the roofs and stuff like that. So plus, if you go out and look, they're talking all the dead trees within a big radius here. Even like that side of the driveway down over here, it's a big mess out there.
Yeah, and this community center is definitely being used.
And I think we could purchase that out of monies through the M&I funds.
The only thing that makes you worried about it is supposed to be like our command center. Something happens.
And that's what it is. It's our
Yeah, this
secondary
command center.
command station. It's also our community center that uses.
Our temporary town hall.
Yeah, I think if a tree fell on the building, the cost and the inconvenience would be more than what we'd be paying to remove the trees.
And then I'm gonna make a motion that we hire Kunstman for the price of $32,500 to get rid of the trees and reduce our liability.
Second.
And have it paid out of the
M&I fund.
M&I fund. Or just the M&I fund, I'll make sure.
Oh yeah, this would be Talmadge, so I take it out of Talmadge.
All those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna keep this over there in a minute, just gonna give it from Kirsten, because we need to make a copy of this, but I'm gonna sign it.
Sure.
So then you could get it over to schedule like that, okay.
So Dave, you let us know when you can do it, or?
Yeah, I can call him here in a second when I get done with all this.
Okay, thanks.
Next item, an update on the walking path at Lions Park. The trail has been cut in, but due to the weather, it's been delayed slightly. They should be working on that in the near future, once we have a few stretches of dry weather. Past programs, last week, Aaron and I had summer camp from the 19th to the 22nd. We had 10 kids attend. It was a lot of work, but it was very, very fun. We would like to do that again next year. It went very well, and we're looking forward to it. And then we also had on the 21st, we had the Boomers have their concert at Lions Park from 7 to 9, sponsored by Hometown Bank, and that went very well as well.
I attended that one with the Boomers.
Yeah.
We had at least 50 people or more that came. It was really well received.
Yeah.
And I told the older people that since we're offering this for the community, that if we don't attend, it'll be taken away from us, and that's just one less activity that we can do as a group.
Yeah.
So
Mature people, not older.
mature people. I'm planning to meet with Marilyn and Vicki from Hometown, probably after summer calms down, after Brimfest, and discuss some more options for concerts next year. How we can improve.
Really very enjoyable.
I mean, next year will be sort of cool. I mean, we have a shelter up there for soccer fields.
So I think they'd be interested in that. They're always interested in partnering with us, which is wonderful to have them in the community. Just some upcoming program updates. We have 2 more concerts coming up. Next Thursday on the 4th, we have the Hot Jazz 7 from 6 to 7:30. Brian Gardner's dad is actually in that band, so that's nice. And then on the 18th, we have Twisted Whispers coming again from 6 to 7:30. And then I also have a Monarch Butterflies program on Sunday, the 21st.
Good job. Thank you. Okay. Cemetery, we have 1 deed to sign.
Yes.
That's all we needed. We're good with that. Do we have it here? It's in the office. Okay. Okay, John, do you have anything?
We need to approve the 2023 estimated budget. And
223?
Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna give my 2 cents again. This is just created, I don't know why we waste our time, but the budgets that we create at the end of the year carry our carryover balances from 2022. These are just guesstimates on what our carryover balance is gonna be, but it's a report that we have to submit into them. It gets changed in December and or in January.
So you need a motion to approve, making a motion to approve our 2023 estimated budget. And then we're gonna submit it to Portage County. Okay, all those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. You always said it was a big guesstimate. Okay. Insurance stipend? You have that on there?
That is just carried forward. We don't have an answer to that yet. We did get a legal letter sent to their attorneys. We're just waiting to hear back.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Got 36 seconds.
No problem. Cassie, assuming the inventory on the Christmas lights was just light bulbs and not all the other equipment, extension cords, plugs, GFIs, the projectors and all the other stuff that were lights on the building itself?
Yeah, we inventoried everything that was in the.
Okay, and my point was we made a big purchase last year. We had a lot of donations from Lowe's. And the objective of that was to be able to do it ourselves, because then we can control when it goes up. And I think it was the previous year that we had all the issues with the being the diversity of the Christmas light people and what they were charging us. So I thought that was why we spent the money, bought all this stuff so that we could do it. And I liked Nick's comment of that it was a community project that people. So to put it out to bid or part of it out to bid for another company to come in seems wasteful to me.
Well, some of them, in regards to like putting lights on the barns, which we don't have equipment, we might have to do that, but we'd figure out what we can.
Get a 100-foot ladder truck.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you're gonna volunteer your time this year.
I did last year.
Well, that would be wonderful.
The other thing is the shelter at Lions Park down here, the one shelter itself, it has no electricity.
It does not. We're going to get electricity put into that this year.
It would make it a lot easier for concerts and other things.
Yep, that's in my budget for this year.
And I didn't understand why it's so difficult to have a meter put in at the dog park.
Man, if you have that answer, you tell us. Because we've been working like, Dave's working like crazy. You tell me what's going on with Ohio Edison.
Who are you working with?
It's getting in contact with First Energy is getting a response back. I've set up multiple meetings. I've met with them on the site and then just don't ever hear back, so.
So it's been inspected
It has, yes.
and it's passed inspection.
Yes,
And the inspection department for Portage County has turned it into Ohio Edison.
yes. So we're waiting on, I think we're waiting on approval.
Well, they-
Bill, our electrician is waiting on approval from.
Right, because he's got to be on site for them to do the hookup, because they're no longer, electricians are no longer allowed to climb the poles. So they got to stay, somebody got that. So they got to wait, and then he's got to give them the material to finish the job, and then they'll tie it in. So he's waiting on them. We're waiting on their side of stuff.
They're no longer allowed to run a pipe up a pole.
Nope, electricians are not, there was a couple accidents that happened that non-certified high Edison guys were up the poles and they got zinged. So they're no longer allowed, they can run the cable, we got the cable there, stubs and everything, all we got to do.
So it's just a matter of Edison coming up
And tying it up.
running the cable up.
I tried to contact them, Dave tried to contact them, and our electrician has getting someone to come out. It's the difficult thing.
That thing is, they perk her all the time, taking breaks.
Yep.
Just can't get them to juice it.
But just real quick, with those lights for the lighting, I mean, they're not commercial. Lowe's is donating residential stuff, and the life light.
I get it, but it's, we have it out there. We did make a big purchase.
Well, it was that or not do lights that year. So, I mean, we may not agree. It's a benefit to Brimfield. I mean, everyone likes seeing them, and, whether you agree or you don't agree, I don't care. That's just how it is. Personally, I would rather pay someone every year to do them because Dave's group, the road department, they don't have time to be spending hours and hours and hours up there putting it. I mean, it's a celebration of Christmas and, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, $20,000 to residential, people is probably a lot. I agree, it's a lot to me. But, just for the benefit and the goodwill of the township, I mean, I think it's something we need, so.
Hey, I got something to say. I just happened to think of this. Had a resident call me, and the flags that we have up, they were looking at them, and then I went and looked at them, and a lot of them are windblown and tattered and shredded and all that stuff.
Where?
Along the street.
Oh.
So do we replace them or do we just take them down? Dave,
Took them down.
did you take
They're
them down?
already down.
They're already down?
Mhm.
Okay.
Like I said, when you text me about it, I was already looking into that last windstorm really.
It really,
There's a lot of them, so
We-
we just took them down.
We have to do something with that now because the chamber used to provide.
Right, we take care of the flags ourselves.
Ordering them, do we have?
We'll have to order,
so we're gonna order new ones? We have new ones up by Brimfest maybe?
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can get them.
I'm not promising that.
Sure, what'd you have?
I'm gonna have to order at least 50.
Yeah.
The cemetery, there was some talk about purchasing that property. Are we still looking into that? I see a for sale sign on that.
We're trying.
Yeah, we are. Mike, you want to talk about it just a little bit, as much as you can?
Well, I think, some of it's gonna be an executive session, but the answer is yes.
You're still looking? And that would be a good place to put some of that dirt from the heritage place, if they could haul that down in there.
It's a lot of
We
dirt.
just haven't come to an agreement. I guess we could say that.
I just wondered if it was still being.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Okay, I
Okay.
move we adjourn.
I'll second. All right,
All
all
those in
done
favor,
today.
Mike?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 9:45.
Yeah, that was it. Mine's dead.